You have unlocked a special poem. Would you like to read it? Oh gosh, I wonder if, like... Well, here's the thing about, like, the special poems. In the original, they were randomized between, like, 11 versions of them, and they were unique, like, determined at the start of every playthrough. But if these get populated into, like, the images folder, I wonder if you have to, like, go out of your way to unlock more of them somehow. But yeah, we'll read it. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got this one. That's, like, unreadable unless you put the image in, like... I don't remember what you got to do to make it so you can read through all these lines. But all we get to see is nothing. Where is it? Where? Nothing. Oh, there's the eye. Is real. Nothing is real. Good message. Deep poem. Alright, so for our first pass through Act 2, whoops, I might have betrayed my intentions for later. We're going Yuri. We're just going to go straight up Yuri the entire time, because I feel like that is not a mistake. I feel like that's a good thing we can do with our lives. I can't imagine how that would ever work out poorly for us, because Yuri is a precious purple princess. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. What are you worried about? It's fine. Crimson. Yeah, sure. That one, and, Man, this is a lot easier to write without Sayori in the way.
Hi again, Hallie. Glad to see you didn't run away from us.
Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but I at least keep my word. Well, I'm back at the Literature Club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out.
Thanks for keeping your promise, Hallie. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you, making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it.
Oh, come on! Like he deserves any slack. You already had to be dragged here by Monica. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what. But if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it.
Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room.
Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monica and manga.
Manga is literature!
Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat.
I'm sorry, Hallie. Well, we'll make sure to put your comfort this first, okay?
Yuri shoots Natsuki with a disappointed glance.
Anyway, now that you're in the club and all, perhaps you might have interest in picking up a book to read.
Well, I can't really say no either way. Like you said, I'm in this club now. So it only feels right for me to do something like that, if you ask.
Wait, I didn't mean it like that. If you don't really want me to, then forget I said anything, I guess.
No, it's not that, Yuri. I want to try to be a part of this club. So even if I don't read often, I'd be happy to pick up a book if you wanted me to.
Are you sure? I just felt like, well, as vice president and all, that I should help you get started on something you might like.
Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book.
I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted.
How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book.
Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think.
Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I would feel bad for distancing her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me, and our eyes meet for a split second. But that only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry. I was just spacing out. I mutter this, sensing I made her uncomfortable.
Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so...
That's the book that you gave me, right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason.
Just curious, how come you have 2 copies of the same book?
Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them.
Ah, I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon.
I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story.
Is that so? What's the story about, anyway?
Well,
I look at the cover of the book. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover.
Basically, it's about this religious camp that was turned into a human experiment prison. And the people trapped there have this trait that turns them into killing machines that lust for blood. But the facility gets even worse, and they start selectively breeding people by cutting off their limbs and affixing them to... Oh, that might be a little bit of a spoiler. But anyway, I'm really into it. The book, I mean. Not the thing about the limbs.
That's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere.
Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Hallie?
No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry.
I hope so.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri is into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different.
It's just that this kind of story... It's the kind that challenges you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen not just because someone wants to be evil, but because the world is full of horrible people, and we're all worthless anyway. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything.
Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts.
I don't think we can actually see that in the history. Yeah, nope, that one still pops out of the history. Sorry guys, my fast text speed has denied us what that said. Maybe you can catch it by pausing the video.
I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much.
I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all.
That's true.
In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right?
Yes. I mean, you don't have to, but...
What are you saying? Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive.
I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone.
I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything.
Alright.
I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead.
Sorry. I was just...
Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you?
I do. I don't really mean to. Sorry.
Now, I guess I could check. Make sure. Not everything gets removed from the history, but a lot of things do. Yeah, nah. That one's gone too.
Sorry. I mean...
Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them.
I suppose so.
Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm is in the way, so I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the page.
Here.
Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way, I turn a page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're hardly even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face, and she's in the corner of my vision.
Are you ready?
Eh?
To turn the page.
Ah, sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her.
That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me.
Yeah. Thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit.
No, I don't relate to this character at all. Definitely not.
Really? I was just thinking the way she second-guesses things she says and all that.
That's what you were talking about. Sorry. I thought you meant something else about her.
Something else?
Never mind. We didn't even get that far yet. So I don't know why that came into my head.
Yuri, are you feeling alright? Yuri's been a little fidgety ever since we started reading. You can rest if you're feeling sick or something. Your breathing is a little...
My breathing?
Yuri puts her hand on her chest, as if to feel her heartbeat.
I didn't even notice. Anyway, I'm fine. I just need some water.
Alright, don't push yourself. Yuri stands up and practically rushes out of the classroom. What on earth was that about?
Allie? Did something happen just now?
I have no idea. Yuri was acting a little strange, I guess.
So you don't know anything?
Sorry, I can't say I do. Are you worried about her?
Oh, no, not really. I was just making sure that you didn't do anything to her.
No, nothing.
Don't worry, I believe you, silly. Yuri just does this sometimes, so it's nothing alarming.
Alright, if you say so.
Anyway, why don't we start with sharing our poems with each other?
Shouldn't we wait for Yuri?
Well, she might be a while, so I just figured we'd get started without her. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was just asking. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. Who should I show my poem to first? Sure, Natsuki. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair if I shared mine with her first. Nice.
Hallie, if you're not going to take this club seriously, then go home!
What? Harsh.
What, do you expect me to believe you actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid?
I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put in effort. We all start somewhere, right? If you're still proud of the first poem you ever wrote, then I'd like to read it. Painful to think about?
Fine. Well, sorry. You'll get better anyway. I'd tell you what to improve, but you're better off just trying again.
Fair enough. Well, to each their own, I guess.
Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. Knowing you, you'll probably think it's stupid.
It's Eagles Can Fly. We read it last time.
Yeah. I told you that you weren't gonna like it.
I like it.
What?
Oh, actually, we have seen this text before, so we can skip it. A lot of things change in Act 2, but the poem sharing, actually, does not. Not by much, at least.
Hi, Allie. Having a good time so far?
Yeah.
Good, glad to hear it. By the way, you're new and everything. If you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay?
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in.
Anyway, want to share your poem with me?
It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to.
Don't worry, Hallie. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know. But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon.
Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem.
Great job, Hallie. I was going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you.
It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way it always counts when I put in some effort.
That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism. Sometimes I feel like Yuri's mind is just totally detached from reality. I don't mean that like it's a bad thing, though. But sometimes I get the impression that she's just totally given up on people. She spends so much time in her own head that it's probably a much more interesting place for her. But that's why she gets so happy when you treat her with a lot of kindness. I don't think she's used to being adults like that. She must be really starved for social interaction, so don't blame her for coming on a little strongly. Like earlier. I think if she gets too stimulated, she ends up withdrawing and looking for a alone time.
Suddenly, the door opens.
Yuri! I'm back. Did I miss anything? Not really. Well, we all started sharing our poems with each other. Already? I'm sorry for being late. No need to apologize. We still have plenty of time, so I'm more glad that you took all the time you needed it. All right. Thanks, Monica. I suppose I should go get my poem now. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good.
You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know.
I see. Well, let's read it then. And there's Hole and Roll, which is slightly different this time.
But he wasn't looking at me. Confused, I frantically glanced at my surroundings. My burned eyes can no longer see color. Are there others in this room? Are they talking? Or are they simply poems on flat sheets of paper? The sound of frantic scrawling playing tricks on my ears. The room begins to crinkle, closing in on me. The air I breathe dissipates before it reaches my lungs. I panic. There must be a way out. It's right there. He's right there. Swallowing my fears, I brandish my pen. So, what do you think?
I think we can skip this dialogue, Monica. Who should I show my poem to next? Yuri. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten.
Exceptional.
Eh? What was that?
Did I say that out loud?
Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face.
He's going to hate me.
You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri.
That's... I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for?
Yuri takes a breath.
So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before.
Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really.
Huh?
Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again.
Well, I know that. I just meant,
Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly.
Yeah. Okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific... Oh.
Yep, there we go. There, we're back to the normal stuff. Even the poem was normal.
It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive, too, so...
Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you.
You think so?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Hallie.
Me too.